I recently started the SQL Answers Skool community, and I wanted to try and start get the word out. And I really thought an ideal audience for the school is college students. So I started doing searches on various college websites, trying to look for various tech clubs, specifically in the data area, and pulled out some of the emails and started sending out a reach out message. And so that started getting a little bit labor intensive. And so what you'll see here is the email that I am sending out to these groups, but I wanted to automate it. And not only just automate the sending of the emails, but the collection of the emails. So what I've done is I've built a make scenario, or actually two make scenarios. The first make scenario uses Apify, and it goes out and it executes the same Google search that I've been running to try and pull back the desired target audience. And then it crawls the page and searches for emails on the page and takes those emails and puts them into an Airtable database. And then the other scenario I built goes into that Airtable database, pulls out the emails, and sends out this email. So I'm going to go through those two make workflows in just a second here. So this is the email gatherer make scenario, and it's using Apify, which is a service that allows you to interact with various APIs. In this case, I'm interacting with the Google API to do a search and then to pull those searches back. And so I'm going to go through this flow one step at a time to give you an idea of what's going on here. So at the start here, Apify receives its request using JSON. So I'm just building a JSON structure. The key element here is really the search. If you were to take this string and dump it into your browser in the Google search bar, it would pull back basically a set of pages that match your search criteria. And so I'm going to say there's parameters I'm passing in here saying, oh, well, just give me at most 100 results per page. So I'll have up to 100 links that will come back, or a page with 100 links on it. So now I'm just going to make that request. So I'm just passing the request from the previous step into the Apify call, and I'm going to ask it to run the module. That will just run that individual module. I'm going to wait for that to complete, and then I have to pull the results back. And so that's what this next step is doing. It's going to go to the previous step and give me your default data set ID. And then I need to iterate over all the items that come back. And then I need to make a HTML GET request. So basically I'm going to get a snapshot of that URL that came back and get that web page. So in case, like I said, I'm only getting one page back. I'm not trying to go through all the pages that come back. So if you go back to my request, you'll see that it's just one item that's going to come back. So now that I've got my web page, which is what I'm doing here, I'm just saying, hey, pull up that web page that came back, and it's going to have a list basically of URLs in it potentially, and what I need to do is parse those out. So I'm going to go into that web page and I'm going to pull back anything that matches in HTTPS, and this is what they call a regular expression. So it's looking for like a pattern matching, but the key thing here is this is looking for this to be in there somewhere. I'm going to iterate over that list, and then this is just creating a variable with the individual URL one at a time. And then I'm going to make yet another call to the HTTP module, and now I'm going to go and get that individual URL that came back. So I might have up to 100 items here. So I might have up to 100 URLs, or maybe there are even more than 100 on the page. Then I need to parse again, and now I'm looking for email. So the key thing to look at here is that @ sign. So it's basically looking for something that matches, like a name, then a domain, and then @.com, .edu, or whatever it is, or .gmail, or something like that. Then I am just going to grab that email address and I'm going to lowercase it. And now I'm ready to search my Airtable database. I don't want to have duplicate emails, so I'm just doing a search, and I'm looking to see cases where where the email matches. If it matches, I don't have to do anything. So this is what a search is doing in Airtable. I'm saying, hey, this is the name of the column in the table, email, and I'm looking for that email address that I'm currently working with. And so see here, it's going to the base SQL answer. I have a table named leads, and these are some of the columns that are in there. If it's not found, I've got a filter here. Sorry. If it is found, it's going to go here. The filter's over here after the router. So it's saying if it's not found, that means I need to create it. So I'm going to do an insert into my Airtable database. And so it's going to put in the URL that came back from the page, the email address, and that's all I really need for now. So that's how I'm collecting all of the emails. And they're all going to be unique emails because of that search that I did. And I'm going to move over into the email outreach scenario. This is a little bit simpler. So all this is really doing is cycling through that Airtable database, and it is going to grab an email and then send an email out to that individual, and then it's going to update the record to tell the database so I know who I've sent to before and I don't have to send to them again. So this is just setting a variable here at the beginning, and this is the email. So this is the HTML behind that email we were looking at the beginning of the video. And then all I have is the email body and subject that are being set there. Then I'm going to go into Airtable, and I'm using, again, a formula and basically saying, hey, give me all of the records where the sent email is 0, or meaning we haven't sent email to that individual yet. I'm just going to ask for 5 at a time. I don't want to spam all at once. I don't want to get put into everyone's spam bucket, so I only want to send out a few at a time to trickle these out. Then I'm going to iterate over each one of those records in the bundle that came back, so up to 5. Then I'm going to send the email out. So I'm going to send the email out to the email address that came back from the Airtable query. And I'm going to use that subject and body that we saw in the very first step where I was setting these up. And then at the end here, all I'm going to do is go back into the Airtable database. I'm going to match on the record ID that I pulled out from this step. And I'm going to update sent email to yes. And that will allow me to keep track of who has received the email, and so I don't have to send it to them again. So that's it. That's the two scenarios, and you saw the email at the beginning that's going out. We'll see how this works out. Typically, the hit rate or the success rate of a cold email outreach such as this is pretty low. That's why you have to kind of do it in volume. You might send out 100 emails or 500 emails and get 2 or 3 responses. So you really need to operate on these things in scale, and having an automated process like this, these two that I put together, really would go a long way with doing that, because what I could do is just have this running throughout the day. As you can see, I'm scheduled to run every hour, and so every hour it's going to pick out 5 more emails and send them out all day long. And I can crank this up. I can send more out, or I can send more recently or more frequently if I want to. So I can kind of change that and dial it up or down as much as I want. And then the other scenario, once I get through all the emails that I've collected so far, I can continue running that to populate it. I ran the scenario once all the way through with 100 results, and it brought back maybe 800 emails, and it used a bunch of make credits, which each one of these processes here, or each one of these modules that gets invoked, it has a cost associated with it. So I blew out like maybe 10,000 requests in one run. So I have to kind of put some guardrails on it so it doesn't run up the cost too high, but it also populates things at a pretty good rate. So if you guys have any questions, let me know, but figured it'd be good to share this kind of interesting little project. I kind of liked working on it. So like I said, if there's anything that you guys have questions about, let me know.